All right, let's get started. There's not much on the agenda. Where's my agenda screen? There we go. Okie dokie. Let's see. Who do we have here? We've got the usual crew. Except I can't spell Bryce. And then Fireflies is back. No new faces. Any updates? I guess I can officially just update the OLM is kind of working on some new projects. So there is something called RuckPack, which is basically a new API for installing bundles. It consists of there's a bundle API plus this notion of provisioners that have knowledge of specific bundle types and know how to deploy them. And they're divorcing the fact that instead of having the API itself always know about all the different formats, they're letting the provisioners only know about them. So then, depending on which provisioners you have installed, can determine. So basically, instead of having one big monolith always knowing all the different formats. So just to be aware that this is happening and probably something to go look at. There's some decent documentation in there and examples.
Yeah, what's the status on this? I mean,
this one is in active development now. It is not shipped. I think they're trying to tie it to some initiative in OpenShift, which is called Platform Operators.
yeah.
I don't know when this will go tech preview yet, but it's pretty usable now just to play with, but it's not in an OpenShift release yet.
Okay.
Where's my tab? There we
go. And can you deploy that on, does that work? Is it like an operator or?
Yes.
Can you?
It's got CRDs and its own operator that you can put on Kubernetes, or it doesn't have to be on OCP.
Plain Kube would work as well?
Yes. Yes. Okay. That is correct. That other one that I mentioned earlier, Depi, that one is a little further away. Depi. This one handles, it's supposed to be used in conjunction with RuckPack to do dependencies. I don't know too much about it other than I know that they're starting on this one as well, trying to solve. So they're like, again, the current OLM does things like with the CSV, so it is very opinionated of what it can and cannot install. The dependencies are kind of built in to OLM, and the even the RBAC stuff is in there. So they're trying to separate the pieces of concerns so that you can kind of weave them together to create different solutions and stuff. So
legal.
So there you go. And then what else? Again, these aren't Java specific, but just stuff in the ecosystem that's happening. There should be an email that went out either last night or today about the operator framework governance. I think the clock will start. I think there's a 14-day open comment window, and then the eligible voters will vote after the 14-day period. And then once all the votes are collected, depending on whether it's approved or not, assuming it's approved, then the new federated governance will go into play in the operator framework, which will allow other projects to join more easily, and we can go from there. So I think that's...
Yeah, and I need to carve out some time to review the proposal.
I think that's all the stuff that I had to let you guys know of. Anyone else have anything that they needed to bring up?
Yeah, on our side, I don't know if that was talked about last week because I was unable to attend, but we had to we had released version 3.2.0 at the beginning of the month, I think, and we realized, well, we underestimated the impact that could have that upgrade, that version would have on the ecosystem, and most specifically that version upgraded to version 6 of the Fabricate Kubernetes client, and that brought about non-backwards compatible changes. So we decided to kind of shelf the 3.0, 3, no, not 3.0, 3.2.0 release. We released a version 3.2.1 that restored backwards compatibility with Fabricate Client 5.12, and we re-released 3.2.0 as version 4 to reflect the fact that that's a breaking change in the API. I mean, it's not the I guess it's a matter of interpretation, but the SDK API itself didn't change. It's just that one of our dependencies, which some of the types are used as part of our API, have changed. So I guess transitively, that meant that our API has changed. So we decided to re-release that version as 4.0 to reflect the fact that it's a breaking change. And yeah, that's the big change, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why, because we were always talking about when will controller runtime in Go would be like a 1.0, and most of the arguments are because it is so tightly coupled to Kubernetes, and Kubernetes often has some breaking changes. They try not to, but sometimes there are, and that it's really hard to not have some of those. So then they chose not to do the 1.0 yet. So they're still like 0 dot whatever. I think 13, I think. It's strange.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the other solution would be to not follow semantic versioning.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, semantic versioning, I mean, the spec or whatever, however you want to call it, it doesn't define exactly what an API is.
That's correct.
So it's kind of open to interpretation, whether you include types. I mean, from my perspective, and that's kind of why we released that as 4.0, any type that, I mean, basically, if users have to change their code, then you broke your API, right? So, and that might not have happened for all our users, but for a significant amount of cases, that was the case. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because when they see a minor bump, they assume that it's not going to affect them and break something. So yeah, we had it was a long time ago a graphing library, one of the Java ones that I had used. They were crazy. They went from like 0.9.20 to like 0.9.21, and they basically moved an entire package of classes to a different package, and it completely broke crap at runtime. It was incredible, and it was like, wait, what did you do? And we basically either had to rebuild everything or
yeah, but that's, I mean, I guess it was in version 1.0, so they
well, exactly.
so
they can get away with it.
Whatever they wanted, right? So no one could complain, because if you follow semantic versioning, as long as you don't commit to version 1.0, then you can break pretty much everything you want. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, this was back before semantic versioning was really talked about but still, I know that because I don't know what we were doing. Oh, we were actually building like RPMs and having to update the libraries as dynamic libraries on the machine. And the folks that were C library folks, they were like, what the heck? Who does that? The C people would never let this happen, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, it's a different world, man. But still, it was semantic versioning is trying to solve some of that, but we'll see. I don't think there were any new issues on here since July. Just to make sure I checked. You guys were pretty on top of yours. Were there anything in here that was worth mentioning? These were open in the last.
yeah, I think they've been well, at least we've let's see. Yeah, I haven't looked at that one, but Attila did.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are really good about responding, and the only time I usually find one, it's because it opened that morning. Okay. All right. All right. Is there anything else anybody wants to chat? If not, this will be a quick one today.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right, folks. I will give you back 45 minutes, or roughly.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Take care.
Bye, folks.
Thank you.
Bye.